Get in, nerds. We are playing Burden of Command. We are on the road to Casablanca, and I think we're just about to finish out the scenario. So, how do we want to start? I think first thing we want to do, this squad is facing this way, and I think we can take them in the side with an assault here. We can take them in the side with an assault here if we want to get real creative, but Dearborn is currently concealed, but this squad is not. So I think the answer is we head here. If we get shot at, we get shot at. Our chances of getting shot at are pretty high. What if we head here? Because I really want to get this extra trust for Dearborn. I don't think they're going to be able to shoot at me. Wonderful. Oh, I took a little suppression. And they're not... balls. Alright. Alright. Let's get the squad in here. Now, what does this look like? Excellent. Alright, so that looks like a full successful attack. Again, I wish I could get Dearborn in there. But that might be a mistake. Where's Dearborn's other squad? They're way up here. So I don't think there's actually pressure to do that. Yeah, I want to get Dearborn his trust. So let's go ahead and... All these are morale check hexes. So I'm just going to go here. Alright, so he's been spotted, but that's okay. Let's go in. And just to make sure I'm selecting both of them. Yes, I'm selecting both of them. I don't want to bolster because then he won't be in on the assault. Let's do it.
Frag out.
Excellent. Alright, that's beautiful. So that's a successful go around. I think next is Wilson coming in here to snag this officer. And then maybe the objective. And then Lieutenant Murphy's squad will... coming in to snag this officer, and then Murphy coming around for the objective. So, that is everything for Dearborn, unless we take command of this unit with Captain Lamb and move them forward, but I don't think that's useful. Alright. And Lieutenant Wilson doesn't have the juice to get into this unit. That's a crying shame. Alright, well, let's get Lieutenant Murphy's battalion into, or platoon into action here. Let me see. This unit can grab this officer without too much of a problem. Because I want to get this officer before I get the objective. And then this one should be able to go in. Yeah. I think that's fine.
Hustle!
Alright, and then...
Frag out.
Sir? Surrender, please. Thank you. The radio crackles. Sergeant Grant tunes in. Sounds like Captain Lamb. Not good news, he says. Sounds like Captain Lamb, he says, and then shakes his head. Not good news. The receiver is oddly cool in your grasp. Oh, that was the objective. Well, I did it. Major victory for the men, major victory for the mission. Loyalty earned 9, prestige earned 22. Very light casualties. Excellent. No one out of action, sir. Continue with the story. All right. Mission major objective. All five major victory. All five objectives seized. Men major victory. Casualties less than 10%. I didn't get my platoon decimated. Captain Lamb's voice crackles over the radio. Nickel 6 to Nickel 16. Flanks no longer secure. Halt immediately and consolidate. Nickel 6 out. First platoon takes over the French positions and digs in where the soil allows. Nearby, Captain Roberts piles up rocks high for cover between wincing sips of bitter coffee the French left behind. Never seen a land so parched, he notes. Don't get used to it, Corporal Crossley suggests as he sets up his BAR. I figure we'll be moving along soon enough if our luck holds. Your men dig in. Something easier said than done. Loose sand runs down the sides, threatening to refill every hole they make. Others stack rocks, and that works better. Captain Lang passes along instructions for defense. The advance is expected to resume tomorrow. A little while after that, Lieutenant Stern arrives at your platoon's front and personally places a machine gun for support. He sights down along the barrel, meticulously checking the fire lanes and aiming stakes until he is satisfied. Word has it that he lost one of his men, a good friend, PFC Olson. Dang. Ugh, that's a shame. PFC Olson had briefly been in first platoon, but then transferred. Oh no, that's not the private we saw getting mobbed up by the bugs. PFC Olson, Private First Class Olson, had briefly been in first platoon and then transferred, and now he's shot or dead or something. No one's quite certain because the company had to move on. That has to be eating Stern up inside. If not today, then tomorrow. He's meticulous. He's obsessed. He's a born soldier. Just walk over. Stern personally racks the first round of a belt of ammo, then itches at the dried blood still on his hands. It seems the wounded soldier couldn't be taken back to Fadal has marked the man. Shame. Stern didn't have to deal with casualties before. It'll hit him soon enough. You've been there. He hasn't. My options are got enough water to wash with, think the medics came in time, thinking about that soldier, or what's your butcher's bill for today? Thinking about that soldier? I think this is the only real... Who, Olson? Lieutenant Stern asks. His fingers keep rubbing at the blood. Not really, trying not to anyway. There's a job to be done. So, our options are we've already had to make tough calls. Guide Stern through his crucible. Have you forgotten what happened today? Guide Stern through his crucible. Or leave him be. You gain XP, he gains XP, but Stern's crucible resolves randomly. I want to guide him. We've already had to make tough calls. Yeah, I know, Stern replies, but looks around. His men are all still busy digging in. Gosh darn it, I just wish we could keep going forward without all this waiting in between. What are the regs on wounded men? Stern acquires the doctrine mindset plus 2 stress and realism. 2 stress is a lot. What was the best way to handle today? Stern acquires the idealism mindset, combat fatigue plus 10 and realism plus 1. We'll need your MGs tomorrow. We'll need your MGs tomorrow, and how? Stern acquires the zeal mindset. We all make mistakes. Stern acquires the cunning mindset. 2 stress is a lot. I think between these, I'm probably opting for 10 combat fatigue and 1 realism. Dearborn and I've got cunning pretty well covered. I don't need Stern to also have that. So let's go with idealism. What was the best way to handle today? The best way? Stern asks incredulously. Well, I think we should have left him. The more men we have shooting at the enemy instead of hauling the wounded back, the faster we get this war over with. And the sooner we do that, the sooner we can... He trails off. His eyes turn towards the western horizon. Maybe looking for Nebraska. The sooner we can all go home and pretend we're regular people again. Stern acquires idealism. His combat fatigue plus 10 and realism plus 1. That's the way of it. Bad news. You're not... Pretending to be regular people isn't gonna come so close. Isn't gonna come so easy. Stern moves off to his mortars. You look to your men. The digging continues. Hey, nice. Got our little achievement. Alright, so that is the scenario. let's hit the Age of Men screen. I saved some prestige from last time. So let's take a quick look at our officers. Captain Lamb's doing just fine. Lieutenant Murphy has got a little bit of combat. He's very sad. He's got a little bit of combat fatigue. That is what it is. Lieutenant Wilson has gotten some experience and some combat fatigue. Where's realism? Do I have realism tracked anywhere in here? Doesn't look like it. Dearborn's got 1 combat fatigue, and Lieutenant Stern's got none. Okay. Not much trust earned, but, he doesn't have a lot of stuff. Alright, so the only casualty we took this go-round was with our mortar when they got shelled with enemy artillery. So I think that's pretty solid. I'm going to spend the prestige to get an experienced replacement, because I want to keep them going up in experience. Basically, it's 3 prestige for 25 experience versus 2 prestige and 2 loyalty. 2 prestige and 2 loyalty is worth a lot more to me than 3 experience. Or than 3 prestige, I think, particularly at this time. So yeah. What is this? Commander trust earned. Here's my mindsets. Alright, so I've got cunning, and I've got discipline. I've got cunning 2, discipline 1, and idealism 1. Edit. Exit the character view. Exit the character view. What does edit do? Oh, that's the yeah. Alright. Oh, you know what? I was going to put a period in after LT. Alright, so let me take a quick look at my other commanders. Captain Lamb has exactly the same spread as I do. Alright, reasonable. I picked him right. Lieutenant Wilson has just 1 in idealism. Okay. Lieutenant Dearborn has 1 in cunning. Okay. And Lieutenant Stern has 1 in idealism. Alright, so we're keeping the right side of the wheel covered. Nobody's going to get caution, I don't think, this run. No, but we'll see. That's funny. I sort of assumed they all started with 1. All the ones that aren't me. But, that was that turned out not to be right. So now, I think the next thing I want to do is I need to get Dearborn squads up in experience. And do I want to go all the way? Do I want to put all of it into Dearborn's platoon? I think the answer is actually yes. Because getting them all up to 2 stars is a good solid place to be. There's nobody I can take up over the line right now anywhere else that I'm aware of. I've got a little bit of prestige that I could spend to throw some experience the way of some of my other officers. And I'm tempted to put some more into Dearborn. It's going to cost me 5 prestige, but I think that's worth it right now. Because Lieutenant Dearborn, I need to get going faster and harder than he's been going. I think Lieutenant Wilson also had a little... I'm not going to drop major criticism over here, but I feel like Lieutenant Wilson and his platoon turned up a little short. Particularly, there was, I think, first squad had a bunch of situations where they just sort of got spotted and froze like deer, and that's not great. That's not great. Now I needed to get Lieutenant Dearborn up to scratch because his squads were not even level 2, or not even fully 2 stars yet. So that was necessary. I would love to have enough loyalty to get some of these machine guns up to getting their 3rd shot, but I don't have that right now. I think it's worth spending a little bit of experience getting Lieutenant... I want more experience on all of these guys. I want Lieutenant Dearborn up to 2 stars. I want Lieutenant Stern up to 1. I haven't gotten occasion to use his machine guns as much as I would have liked. But I don't want to spend too much of this prestige, because I want to keep some prestige in the pot in case I have a really bad day. So, we'll give Lieutenant Stern a little bit more experience, and then we'll be done. 15 in the pot's 5 replacements, and I got 7 of those available. So, that should be fine. Alright, let's continue our journey. Tanks rarely reveal hidden units that aren't shooting at them. Yeah? It's almost like being in a huge armored box makes it hard to see anything. Casablanca. 10th November 1942. So the following day. It's been a busy couple of days. Oh boy, look at this old map. Alright, we're going to have a lot to
Shore
do.
batteries and the heavy guns of the French battleship Jean Bart and several cruisers, destroyers, and gunboats put out a devastating fire. Gunnery from American ships coupled with precision bombing silenced those guns.
Outside Casablanca, afternoon, the talk.
Then I knew, even if I made all the right decisions, not everyone was coming home.
The awaited French counterattack never materializes. Neither do your orders to advance. If General Patton has a strategy here, it's way beyond you. Just as well, we didn't have support either. We have to keep pushing. I command only my platoon, not the army. Look, what General Patton does is on him. I command only my platoon, not the army. The city of Casablanca sprawls along the horizon to the south and west, a jumble of white stone and strangely shaped golden rooftops just a few miles away. The hours creep past as you watch, wait, and wonder. Your men rest in what shade they can behind their rock piles. You can hear their stomachs growl as you make your rounds. A runner from Company HQ arrives at sunset. Captain Lamb needs to see you, he says. Take 4 men, our supplies have come in. Corporal James Jackson relates, managing to catch a hint of the captain's Texas twang. Water, ammo, food? Now, go see Captain Lamb. Water, ammo, food? All 3, Lieutenant, Corporal Jackson replies, but not a heap of anything. Nice. Yeah, look at all these jerry cans. You grab the 4 nearest men and put Sergeant Grant in charge until you return. Corporal Jackson leads you to a ruined adobe farmhouse behind a grove of lemon trees. Piled in the shade are cardboard boxes filled with K-ration cartons. Behind them sit a dozen 5-gallon jerry cans, all stenciled with the word water. The clatter of a typewriter draws your attention to a white stone house nearby. Where there's a clack of keys, there is paperwork, and that means the command post. I should report in first, prestige +1. Supplies take priority, trust +5. Chalk some goods as first platoons. What an interesting question. Okay, when the game presents you with 2 options, one of which is just marked better, that feels like a trap. Supplies take priority. You set to work dividing what supplies will be carried and how. The runner glances toward the adobe house. A moment later, Captain Lamb emerges into the sunlight. Dark circles mar his eyes. Lieutenant? Captain Lamb calls out as he strides over. The orchard's not the command post. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir, I was admiring the bounty. Just waiting on the guide's direction, sir. I'm not going to throw the guide under the bus. What a dirtbag move. Sorry, sir. I was just admiring the bounty. Now, you know what? I'm just going to say yes, sir. I wasn't admiring the bounty. I was setting up supplies for my team. So, for my platoon. So, yeah. Yes, sir. He gives a little nod at your brief reply. The supply situation ain't good. Most of the stuff had to be hauled up by hand. Dearborn and Wilson have taken their shares, so half of this is yours. Make it count. I understand, sir. Half and no more. Lieutenant Stern hasn't picked up his portion yet? Who got here first, Wilson or Dearborn? Lieutenant Stern hasn't picked up his portion yet? Not yet, Captain Lamb says, and then considers the question new. I expect he'll hustle right over when he gets the word, though. He'll be wanting his half of the ammo at the very least. Okay. I'll leave all the belt and ammo for Stern. I'll have my men stop by to remind him. It's interesting. Whoever got the messages to Wilson and Dearborn should have got it to Stern as well or something, but anyway, I guess I didn't hear about it until just now. I'll have my men stop by to remind him. Alright then, Captain Lamb replies. Now, Major Cloud's putting together a briefing at battalion and we're invited. Your men will take away 1st Platoon's share. Except for one of them, he's coming with us as an aide. Okay. Choose Crossley, he can eat at battalion CP. Choose Morris so that Patterson will work harder. Okay. If I choose Crossley, 1st Platoon gets 6 XP. Choose Morrison so that Patterson will work harder, plus 2 temporary morale. Choose Patterson so that Morris will work harder, plus 2 temporary morale. Or choose Roberts, he can't carry as much. So I think Roberts is our man who had a bit of a hard time dealing with everything. I love the idea of getting temporary morale. But XP... Well, 1st Platoon's not hurting for XP, though. Alright. Choose Patterson so that Morris will work harder. See, here's the thing about Roberts. I think I might pick Roberts, but I don't want someone who's got a little bit of a problem being back at battalion HQ. I think that's a recipe for disaster. So we'll choose Patterson. Patterson slips to your side. Morris follows almost as a reflex before you motion for the Brooklyn resident to attend to his other work. There isn't much to see on the road ahead. There are no vehicles or even camels to be found. Only a few distant figures trudge down the ribbon of gray asphalt, their shadows long in the setting sun. The pace Captain Lamb sets would be brisk by anyone's standards. After a time, he signals for Patterson to go on ahead a little ways. The private advances, quietly for once. So how are you getting along, Lieutenant? Captain Lamb asks politely. Okay, sir, about taking down that AA gun. Deflect by being angry at the French. Indicate that I've learned a lot. Feign weariness as is appropriate. This could be combat fatigue and prestige, but not realism. Sir, about taking down that AA gun. Nothing to be said, Captain Lamb indicates, waving off the topic. You listened to Dearborn and he pulled it. Oh, he got it. Okay, alright. You listened to Dearborn and he pulled it off. I've already had a talk with him about such diversions, but next time tell me. Then we'll all be working smoothly toward a common victory. 1 prestige, 10 combat fatigue. You walk in silence for a little while. What I really want to know is how are you handling things, Captain Lamb says, because the last few days have been trying for us all. Indicate that I've learned a lot. Right now we're all still figuring things out, Captain Lamb replies, but things will get easier after we do. A barrage of artillery thunders in the distance. Casablanca lies under a pale of smoke that hangs especially heavy over the harbor. The two of you talk a while about how the men are doing, good and bad. This all leads me to my next question, Captain Lamb says after a time. Is Sergeant Grant a good sergeant? This is my job. So our 4 options are... Sorry, I should be reading these options, and I haven't been. He's had his moments, good and bad. I'd ask he be replaced, but I'd just get the same. I trust him with my life, I've had to. He is bar none the worst sergeant ever. You know? I trust him with my life. I've had to. That's high praise, Captain Lamb remarks. I didn't know if he'd make the grade. You know he was a buck private in 40? Lots of promotions during the Army expansion. Changed everything. Patterson suddenly freezes on the road ahead. His rifle comes up warily. The drone of an aircraft engine comes from somewhere in the twilight sky, and it's slowly getting louder. Lamb gestures toward a stone animal pen nearby. A lone sheep paces around inside, flicking nervous glances your way. You and Lamb take cover behind the rough masonry. Patterson crouches down a little further away. Thankfully, the sound of the plane begins to fade away. Sir, what's this all about? Got a bad feeling about this? Let him talk. I got a bad feeling about all this. Do you? Captain Lamb replies curtly. Major Cloud wanted me to bring my XO. Trouble is, Lieutenant White is still on on the ship with that smashed hand when he got when we were loading up. Unless he makes a real dramatic recovery, Nickel Company is going to need an executive officer. I want that to be you. High above, the plane wings away northeasterly, disappearing into the steadily darkening sky. You're a better battlefield thinker than some West Pointers, and I know I'm not the only person who thinks that, Lamb says. Besides, you're a natural leader. You did better than most on the beach, and you really impressed me yesterday. Most officers would have stopped well short. He leans in. The question now is, are you ready and willing to be my XO? Wilson always plays by the book. Dearborn never opens it, and for every pit bull like Stern, there's another officer who'd rather never leave his CP. Overhead, the sound of the plane fades completely into the distance. Some regulations work in the field and some are just for garrison. And some get men killed when the shooting starts, Lamb says. I don't know, doesn't seem like that plane's going away. He gestures idly toward a portion of the wall. There are hundreds of individual stones that make up the whole. Whatever you may think, this won't be easy. The more soldiers you lead, the harder it is, because everyone needs something different to get the job done. Now then, how about? I'll manage. No change to primary mindset. Reduced combat fatigue. Oh, that's really tempting. Swords about getting things done. Reset primary mindset to cunning or zeal. Well, I'm already primary mindset cunning. I'll find the right way. Reset primary mind. So this one's combat fatigue minus 20. This one's combat fatigue. The first one's combat fatigue minus 20. The second one, the swords about getting things done, is about combat fatigue minus 10. The third is reset primary mindset to compassion, doctrine, or idealism. Combat fatigue minus 10. The fourth is reset primary fatigue to caution, discipline, or professionalism. Combat fatigue minus 10. I'm not... cunning is what I want to be my primary mindset. And I really like getting some extra combat fatigue reduction. I'll manage. It's good to hear, Lamb says. Confidence will take you far. When you're done being my XO, I expect you'll make an excellent company commander. He pats your shoulder, and with a silhouette haloed by the stars, that sounds like a promise. Damn it. Immediately. Immediately. He stands up. A shot rings out. He staggers. Captain Lamb collapses against the stone wall, a dark stain spreading across the front of his shirt. Order covering fire. Shoot back at the sniper. Rush over to the captain. Order covering fire. Patterson opens fire, his rifle cracking rounds off into the night. Oh, Lord. Captain Lamb coughs, blood spilling out through his lips. The enemy fires back, their rounds cracking over your head. Then you hear the barely audible ping of an M1's N-block clip. The shooter has an American rifle. So, that ping, basically the M1 had an automatic magazine ejector that when it was empty, the thing would pop out and it would often hit the ground and make a little ding. Or the thing would pop out and the spring pushing it out of its holder would make a little ding. That's the thing they're talking about. So this is telling us this is a friendly. The challenge is George. Hey, I'm supposed to challenge with that, a voice calls out in the darkness. Moments later, a young American soldier edges into view, his hands pale as they clutch the stock of his rifle. Ah, shit! Patterson cold cocks the soldier from behind and puts him on the ground. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Kick that sentry a few times. Keep Patterson from killing the man. Restrain myself. Oh. So, the sooner we get a medic here, the better. I'm going to keep Patterson from killing the man. We've already gotten one friendly fire incident. Let's not escalate it to two. Keep Patterson from killing the man. You grab Patterson's shoulder and he looks back, a rare fury in his eye. But under your stare, that subsides. Because now there is something more important to attend to. Thank you. All right. The next while is a blur of carrying Lamb forward to battalion. Blood keeps coursing out of his chest. Patterson shouts for a doctor. There isn't one, but the medics do what they can with what they've got. It isn't pretty, and it doesn't work. Eventually you find yourself beneath canvas, sitting upon a folding chair that creaks worryingly with every breath you take. A medic brassard, emblazoned with a red cross, rests on a nearby field table. Major Cloud steps into the tent, his left hand encased in white bandage, his eyes narrowed as you look up. Do you need to be relieved? He asks pointedly. Why? I don't know. Can I just tell you to go to hell? Why would you ask me? The answer is no. Okay, he's being a little bit of a shitbird. I'm not going to be a shitbird back. Well, none of these options are really not being a shitbird back. I think I don't know is the most. It's not very officerly, but it's also the most sort of neutral. I don't know. Well, I do, and the answer is no, Major Cloud says as he steps over to the nearby table. Okay, good, we're in agreement. A faint rumble of artillery comes from the west. Tonight, 2nd Battalion will launch an attack in the resort town of Ain Sabah. Ain Sabah, the major explains. His free hand drifts to the medic's tent and shifts it aside. Early tomorrow morning, 3rd Battalion will use the ground they've taken to push into the city proper. Nickel Company's objective is a French military encampment on the city's outskirts. You'll lead them. Are we not going to talk about the command structure? Make no mistake about this. You've never... Okay, all right, here we go. Make no mistake about this. You've never commanded a company, and the advantages the French have are considerable. They're fighting on their doorstep while we're dragging everything from the beach. They also have tanks, they have artillery, and they may actually outnumber us, he says with a decided calmness. But that doesn't matter. They've been retreating for 3 days, and now they're forced to fight. That's not easy to do, not for any army. If we coordinate properly, they won't be able to shift their reserves around to hit us one company at a time. They won't be able to shift their reserves around to hit us one company at a time. So this involves more than just the 7th. When did Captain Lamb? My report on this. I better see to my company. Frankly, insane if I don't ask about Captain Lamb. So, like, honestly, I would be worried if I were giving this briefing and the guy didn't say anything. That was his CO. When did Captain Lamb... I could say the doctors are still working on him as far as anyone knows. One knows, Major Cloud says. He glances briefly out the tent flap, though there's nothing much to see in the darkness. So this involves more than just the 7th. My report on this. Let's talk about my report on this. Can wait, Major Cloud says, his knuckles rap against the wooden table. You have an attack to prepare for. So this involves more than just the 7th? So they tell me, Major Cloud says. There's another of those folding chairs nearby, but he doesn't sit. I don't have any maps to show you the larger movements, but you don't need them either. I'm not going to say how important it's tomorrow. That's just dirtbaggery. Every day's important. Every day's important. It's Casablanca. It's... Actually, come to think of it, I don't know if Casablanca is the capital of Morocco. I think I assumed it was, but it occurs to me I don't think I've ever actually looked it up. So it might not be. So, well, it's a big city in Morocco, and I think it's the major Atlantic port. I'm fairly certain. So it's freaking important. So this is a stupid question. Well, then I better head back to my company. Yep, there isn't much time, Major Cloud says as he escorts you out. You return to the adobe house that served as Captain Lamb's command post. The enlisted men there are already whispering to one another. Bad news travels fast, as always. They already know you're their company commander. Patterson is sent to get Sergeant Grant. Other runners fetch the lieutenants. It isn't long before they assemble. Lieutenant Stern is the first to arrive, barreling up the road at a dead run. Lieutenant Dearborn isn't far behind. Sergeant Grant and Lieutenant Wilson arrive not long after, though the older man has a different hitch to his step. Captain Lamb has been badly wounded. Lie. Captain Lamb has been killed. Again, I'm not going to lie to these PBI. This is war. I'm not... It's not... I'm going to tell the truth. Captain Lamb has been killed. But do I know that? I think I know it. I think in the diegesis, I know it. It's even saying lie versus tell the truth. Captain Lamb's been killed. Stern takes a step backward and shakes his head. Jesus Christ, Wilson growls. What the hell happened? Doesn't matter. We attack tomorrow. I'll spare the details. We attack tomorrow. Relate the details. Man, I don't want to get into all this with them. because they're freaked out. No, I should relate to. I'm not going to be cagey about this. I'm not going to be cagey about the incident that led to me getting the company. Relate the details. Describe what happened as best you can recall. The wound, the sentry, the medics. Wilson doesn't need all that, and he already knows this story. Dearborn shakes his head repeatedly, though, as if unable to hear all the words. And stern, you might as well be carved of stone. That done, you move on to the forthcoming attack. Well, I hope that wasn't a mistake, but you know, I'm honest with my subordinates. You lay out Major Cloud's orders and reveal the map. Here we go. Alright. Along the route from your present bivouac, so that's going to be here, you have to take a cement works and negotiate a half-built workers' suburb before coming upon the military encampment. So that's going to be here. The French are strongly positioned in the camp itself, but not much else is known of their deployments. That includes the hilly area to the south. Here's what we'll do. Dearborn, what does the French translate as? Wilson, what's the recon look like? Stern, could your MGs cover an assault? Wilson, what's the recon look like? The French are fortifying. The odds look about even. This is going to be a tough fight, sir, Lieutenant Wilson says as he peers down at the map. No matter what we try, it comes down to hitting their camp there. We're best off with securing their workers' city there. I think that's... Or no, this is the cement works. And this is the camp. Ouvrière. Cité Ouvrière. Yeah, that's the workers' compound, and this is the cement works. So this is the camp. No matter what we try, it comes down to hitting their camp there. We're best off at securing the workers' city there and using the cover of the buildings to build up enough fire for an assault. The objective is obvious, the route is not. I need recon, not strategy tips. Listen and wait. Which they'll see coming, Lieutenant Wilson or Lieutenant Dearborn interjects. If we go straight in, we're playing to their strength. Yeah, we gotta hit them the right way, Lieutenant Stern says, before they can figure us out. In the back of the group, Sergeant Grant says nothing, and you meet his eyes, there's a profound worry there. The officers argue a little longer. Wilson is certain that the methodical approach will work. The others are equally uncertain, though for very different reasons. The second map you have bears hand-drawn dispositions that may or may not be accurate, seeing how they come from French officers with Gaullist leanings. Okay. Nice. We'll make a flanking attack. We'll set up shop in the workers' city. We'll get in close and hit them hard. We'll set up shop in the workers' city. You lay out how the platoons should position themselves once they get into the city. Overlapping fields of fire all focused on the military camp. This is the right way to go after a fixed defended position, Lieutenant Wilson says. And I can't say that Captain Lamb would have said the same. Give them your orders, revise the attack. Give them your orders. You send the platoon officers back to their platoons, but Sergeant Grant lingers behind. Alright. Sergeant John Burden of command. What is it, Sergeant? Well, no time for subtlety. Tell me what's worrying you. I'm always going to go with the verbose answer. What is it, Sergeant? I'm terrified about tomorrow, Sergeant Grant admits. I've never led a platoon not like this. It's the first time for everything. Tomorrow's a new day. The men don't need to know that. It's the first time for everything. Sarcasm maxing. Sergeant Grant grimaces. Keep that in mind, Lieutenant. He replies, evidently unconvinced. He doesn't say anything before stepping out. There are countless details to prepare, things you never had to bother with before. The field kitchens haven't come forward for some reason. There's no first sergeant to sort that out. There are radio frequencies that need to be confirmed for armored artillery and mortar support. Alternate plans for contacting the battalion CP, reconnaissance, and much, much more. By the time those are in hand, the sky is entirely dark and you're exhausted. Thankfully, there's a cot waiting for you in the house's second room. The sight would have been comforting if it weren't for Captain Lamb's dress boots lying on the floor beside it. You awaken in the familiar dark. Hey, got my Become the Captain achievement. All is quiet, and for a moment you forget where you are. Then the warm, fond illusion is shattered by the distant thunder of artillery. You're 3,000 miles from home in a very foreign country and at war. Your headquarters unit is a bare 5 men, all of whom seem to be asleep. No sign of a sentry roster is to be found. The radio operator lies curled up beside his box. The runner snores next to the door. The armorer swings in a hammock strung up in one corner. A glance out the adobe's window finds a gray dawn. A look at your watch tells you that there's not much time before you're scheduled to launch the attack, and there remains much to do. Awaken the radio operator first. Awaken the armorer first. Rouse the runner first. Yell and get them all out. The runner's used to delivering orders. I'm going to get him up first and help get the others out. I'm not going to wake them all up screaming on my first day as the captain. Rouse the runner first. You head over to the door. Private Jackson, you whisper, wake up. Private James Jackson, JJ to most, wakes up with a stretch, his powerful legs uncoiling his velves like steel springs. Sir? JJ, go make sure our tank support shows up on time. Ooh, that's going to be important. Go gather up what stragglers you can, and an additional rifle squad will participate. No. You get the... JJ, go make sure our tank support shows up on time. Yes, sir, Private Jackson replies. With a quick salute, he lurches out the door and into the gray dawn, slowly gathering speed. Talk to my armorer. An armorer artificer fixes or makes things within a company. Talk to my radio operator. Get on with it. Start the tactical scenario. Talk to my armorer. Yes, boss? Technical Sergeant Washington Arthur says politely in a Bayou accent as he stows his hammock with steady motions. I mean, sir. The armorer artificer is called Art by just about everyone. Born in Louisiana, and rumor has it joined the army just to get out of there. From what little Captain Lamb said about the man, he apparently recruited him after he fixed a car using nothing but baling wire and sweat. What he did for the company with a standard set of tools was apparently enough to overlook a few eccentricities. Think we can repurpose some French MGs? Gain an MG team? Can you rig a few road signs for JJ? Tank support will arrive even earlier. Oh, man. I'm gonna do this with tanks. This is silly. But I'm just tanks maxing. I don't... An extra MG, but it's not a permanent MG. We're tanks maxing. We're tanks maxing today. Can you rig a few road signs for JJ? Sure can, sir, Sergeant Arthur says. None of them tankers will have no excuses if they don't show up. There's so much more you can do than that. The man knows his business. Talk to my radio operator. Corporal Sobieski sparks to everyone in the company, blinks at you with big innocent eyes. Sir? Contact battalion, I want air support. Even chance of air support. Contact battalion, I want artillery to soften things up. Even chance of artillery support. Call battalion, we need more ammo. Some positive events enabled. Casablanca is almost surely going to have ACAC, so let's say we want artillery. Get battalion, I want artillery to soften things up. Yes, I do that. Yes, I do that, Sparks says in his distinctive, slightly broken English. His Polish accent particularly thick this morning. I don't know what a Polish accent sounds like, so we're just gonna American him for now. He grasps the side of his radio and turns the crank. The tiny sparks briefly flicker within the case. Soon you're on the line with an artillery officer. The exchange proves less than reassuring. Division already has too many support requests and nowhere near enough shells. Only the customary ranging fire takes place. Dang. Alright, so no artillery. Get on with it. With everyone in motion, you step out into the gray dawn. The platoons of the company are waking as well. In under an hour, the attack will begin. I feel anxious, though nothing's happened. That's the start. Have I done everything I can? That's the start. There's much to do. So many details and not enough time or personnel to cover them. It's a wonder that Captain Lamb pushed the company on as far as he did. Stay focused? Captain Lamb never had it easy, sarcasm -1. I got to sleep in a cot, that's gotta be worth all this stress. Sarcasm +1, Captain Lamb would be proud. I'm gonna say Captain Lamb would be proud. I know I've been sarcasm maxing pretty well over here, but I'm thinking about Captain Lamb right now. Captain Lamb would be proud. Directness +1. The satisfaction you feel as the company assembles for action is profound. The men look to you as a child would a parent. You must have the answers to make the world right where everything else is wrong. The mission, secure the enemy barracks. The men suffer no more than light casualties.
This is a Chinese fire drill.
My God. Oh,
What a mess.
Oh, hell.
Okay, well, you all shut the fuck up. It's my first day, and Lieutenant Stern is already goofed. All right, so here's Sergeant uh, John Burden of Command. Sergeant, or no, I'm still technically leading my. Huh. No, I'm a captain. I'm Captain Murphy now, and Sergeant Grant is leading my battalion. My platoon. All right. So what's the terrain look like? Fenced area over here. Here's the refinery. Secondary objective. Let's go to the objective screen. All right. One VP. Something going on over here. Required. So this is the base, and this is the ville ouvrière. So that's going to be our point of attack. Oh, not a lot of cover. So I think, oh man, this is going to be a little bit of a shit show. I mean, it's always going to be a shit show. They got a lot of prepared defenses over here, though. Oh man, ew. This could potentially be pretty rough. Like, ideally, I would take them from the east through all these trenches, but trenches mean enemies. And there is no good way to get into all this through here. Like, all of this is open. I'll be chewed up completely there. So yeah, we're going the way they expect us to go, and that is what it is. So with that having been said, we've had a good role-playing session. It's the beginning of the next battle, and it is time to get everything going. So, but that is all the time we got for this episode, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.